Hey everyone, Paula from Crop Notes and Crafts here. I have a mini to show you today. This is a baby book that I made, and it's not made with traditional baby papers, but it works out pretty well with the theme and everything. So here's the front of it. I'll just go over a few of the items that I used to make the book. Most of the papers came from this Tim Holtz paper stash called Vintage Shabby, and I used about 8 of the 12 sheets of paper, of the blue paper, in this stack. Okay, for my metal pieces, I started with this Making Memories border. I have 2 different of these aluminum borders, and then the other metal pieces I actually created those using dies and aluminum flashing, like house flashing, which you can pick up at a hardware store or at a home store. This is just an idea of a piece of it that I've already punched, and then some pieces I left as is, and then other pieces I ran through an embossing folder. Okay, for the stamps, I used this Stampability stamp. It's a journal block, and it is OR 1025. I used this stamp from Stampin' Up. This is from a number of years back when, from one of their, I think, celebration sales. I used this French script background stamp. This one's been discontinued, but French script stamps are pretty easy to find. That was from Stampin' Up also. This is from Stampin' Up, and this is called Belle Etoile, and the Belle Etoile is also a Stampin' Up background stamp. Then I used the 7 Gypsies stamp set. It's just called Baby. This little basic gray stamp set I used. And I also used this stamp set from Inkadinkado. And then this Fisker stamp set called Precious Baby Quotes. I also used several pieces of chipboard from this mini K & Company set of chipboard. And this is old. I've had that for several years. Okay, so the front of this book is made from a chipboard album that was purchased at Michael's. So my front and back is just one of those store-bought chipboard albums. And then you can see on my binding, one of my favorite fabrics to use for binding is this fabric I picked up from Walmart that looks like leather, stamped leather, embossed leather. Then here on the front you can see I've used a baby stamp here, and then I used some glossy accents. The book plate, I'm not sure which company that came from, but I just went ahead and took a small stamp set, alphabet stamp set that I had, and I put the baby's name. His name's Jude. Then this is a piece of chipboard from the K & Company chipboard, which I inked in dark blue, and then I put glossy accents on that. Then the film strip, this is the Tim Holtz film strip. And then this circular piece is part of a hard drive off of an old computer. The inside of the book is made with envelopes. It's an envelope mini. And all I did was take a strip off the end to open up the envelope at the side, and then at the top I just took enough off the top so that there would be a pocket for the envelope. My hinge binding is from Kathy Orta, so you can check that out if you don't already know about her hinge binding technique. Then here on the first page I have some chipboard pieces that I inked, stamped them, and then used some, you could use glossy accents, but I think here I actually used clear embossing powder, and then I also used a silver pen to kind of highlight that. This is another piece of chipboard here, which has been in my stash for a while, and all I did was ink it. I used several layers of UT on there, or any kind of embossing powder as long as you get it thick enough. And this is clear embossing powder, and then I used a stamp and stamped it, and then a silver pen to accent the edges. It's just the information for the baby to go there, and that's on a piece of vellum, and then a piece of cardstock from Die Cut with a View. My navy blue cardstock is Stampin' Up! Night of Navy cardstock, and I've just stamped it and inked the edges with, I used a silver pen and went around the edges. So here I've got a little leather, a little silver. The baby's dad is a guitar player in Nashville, so I've kind of gone with a southern kind of a Nashville theme with this. And here in the top pocket I've taken the baby announcement, and there's 3 parts to the baby announcement, and this is the first 2 parts here with the information on the back and the picture of the baby here. You can see here he's in a little leather jacket, so that kind of sets the theme for the album. Then this is a die from Tim Holtz that I've used here with the aluminum metal flashing. And this mini holds, it'll hold actually over 50 photos. Right now I think I have about 44 photos in here. So here we just have, this is a piece of paper that I've just folded and punched the corner, used some of that metal border. Then I've used the Tim Holtz Baroque die, and then I embossed with silver embossing powder and used a silver pen to make this little booklet, which just opens up this way. So we've got a journal block and photos. We've used up all that space. Here we've got a little tag and then a journal block on the back. This envelope, I believe that's a Sizzix die. It's Sizzix or Stampin' Up! And these little bits of metal here, this is from Tim Holtz, and I just embossed that piece. That's part of the same die as this, I believe. I think it might be called Tiny Tags or something along that line. Then this opens up here at the end. And for the end piece, I just took an envelope. I've got 2 of these little end flaps in here, and I just took an envelope and cut it down to the size that I wanted it to be, and I got two side pockets out of one envelope. This is just a piece of silver corrugated paper and a piece of cardstock that I've stamped on. We've got another little tag. We've got a Tim Holtz hanger here, and this little quote is from Stampin' Up! And then we've got a place to journal. And another little photo and a place to journal. This is a piece of, it's actually a piece of this silver corrugated paper that I've used. And I've used the stamp die from Sizzix. This is just a silver piece of, I know this is a lot of glare and hard to see. That's just a piece of silver paper. And I took my StazOn ink and stamped Precious across there. And then I took the little bundle of Joy stamp, stamped that, embossed it with clear embossing powder to give it some weight. And then I just glued it here. I just glued it here at the very bottom, so there's a place to tuck the photos in so they don't slip all the way through. Then this die is Spellbinders dies. A lot of glare with that glossy cardstock. Then we've just got a place to slip paper in here. I've just taken the photo and clipped the corners is all I did on that. Spell out the baby's name with brads, and I'm not sure who makes these. I just don't remember. I've had them for several years, but they fit the theme with the silver. I've got the silver and black, so that kind of fits in with my Nashville, my southern theme. Then I've used another piece of, this is just a piece of chipboard, and I used a piece of that fabric that I picked up at Walmart. This is just a piece of navy blue cardstock here on top that I've embossed, and then I've inked. So each page, we've got a place to journal or put photos. And the size of this mini on the inside, I forgot to tell you that, is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Then this is a Sizzix die that I've used with the metal flashing. And then I took some of my stickles and actually had my bubbles to overflow here. That's really cute. One thing in the future I'm going to have to look at is probably putting stickles on the edge and to the back side of this a little bit, because it's a little bit sharp, so the photo can get scratched up. So that could be a problem. Keep that in mind if you decide to use that idea. And then this is just the last of his birth announcement that I used. Just put it on a piece of cardstock and mounted it here at the bottom, so I've got a flap where I can tuck photos. And then here again, this opens up. That's just a brad. Got a journal block, and we've got a little book with photos. And then of course another pocket each time. This is a guitar page since his dad's a guitar player. Okay, so on the guitar page here we have, this was all cut with my Cricut, and I believe this is from the Heritage cartridge. Then I've used some nestability dies to cut these photos. These are all little guitar photos. Then I made this little booklet that opens up. So we have photos, and then it opens up one more time. More photos. I haven't added all the journal spots yet. I'm going to let the Dad go ahead and do that if he wants to. This is a piece of chipboard that I've covered with the cardstock, and then I cut it out with a Sizzix die and added a little bit of bling. And I've got the other page that opens up here. Okay. And then this is just a little bit of ribbon, and here I've made a little ornament out of that aluminum flashing. I took my StazOn ink and stamped a J. So then this little folio will open up. And this was conducive it's the ATC card page that's in the stack. So this was a real easy thing to do. It's pretty much all ready to go. All I needed to do was on these two inner pages, I cut the edge down. I took about 1/8 of an inch off of the edge so that when this folds, it all folds up and goes together well. And then I've just left the journal blocks blank and not attached those. That way I can either customize it later. The thing with the journal blocks, I'm always afraid that if you make a mistake and it's glued down, then you're toast. So I like to kind of add those separate, and then they can be attached later. Here, this tab punch is from Stampin' Up. I just made a little tag there. On this photo, I actually printed a lot of wallets for this mini because of the size of it. It turned out really well. His mom's a photographer, so this is a photo that she had taken. All I did was clip the corners with a punch. This page, I've just added some baker's twine, made this little booklet. Then this page is for his first haircut. And I just took a punch, I believe that was a Stampin' Up! Punch that I had. I punched out my little medallions, and then I used a small alphabet set that I had. And this says haircut, made a little banner there. Then I also took an envelope die that no, this wasn't an envelope die. This was actually cut with a Cricut cartridge. I think it might be the Stand and Salute, from the Stand and Salute cartridge. But I've got an envelope here so that a lock of hair, there's a little bag in there, lock of hair can be placed in there. Then I have a bunch of journal blocks that I have stamped and ready to go, and then they can later be attached to these if need be, or wherever in the book. So this is a blank one. I've just used a background stamp on that, and I've used silver ink. And on this last page, I used the Child's First Year cartridge, Cricut cartridge, to do the baby in the high chair. And I've used the actual cut and the shadow, and then I used clear embossing powder on that. That gave it some stability, and I just attached it here at the bottom and right here at the back so it makes a pocket. And so then I also have, this is the birthday party invitation for his first birthday. And then I've got a little pocket here in the back, and I've used a piece of die cut with a view paper. I believe this is from the Mariposa stack. But I'm not certain. I think it is, though. And this is just a Tim Holtz embossing folder, the gear folder that I've used there on the back. And the front and the back are pretty much the same. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I think I might make another one like it and have on hand. It made a nice baby book. Or it could be, for anything. But this turned out nice because it's a baby book, but yet it's not, real baby papers. And it has that feel, blue for boy. And I've got the metal on there that makes it pop, and this faux leather, and the guitar that kind of makes it a nice Nashville theme. So thanks for stopping in. I'll talk to you later.